Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Water Juice channel, and welcome back to another episode of the Houston Texans 10-year rebuild here on Madden 23. We are in episode number 9, season number 9. We've only got one more episode after this, the finale episode, to wrap everything up. We've won 2 Super Bowls so far, and that was in the first 5 years. Ever since year number 5, we have not been able to do anything. We've missed the playoffs a few times. We've had some good records and made the playoffs, but then we've been bumped in the first round. So what's going to happen? I have absolutely zero idea. We have the defending MVP, STROUD, though, so I'm excited to see what happens. If you guys are too, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and let's get Season 9 underway. So here we are. It is week 1 of season number 9, and as we always do, we got to start with the season goal, and at this point, it doesn't really matter. It's got to be win the Super Bowl. I would like to win my 3rd Super Bowl because I think that would make it the most wins we've had in an entire 10-year rebuild. I don't think I've won more than 2 Super Bowls in a 10-year rebuild span, which is kind of depressing, kind of sucky. I probably should win more than 2. But hey, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. We do have Jahmyr Gibbs now at running back. He doesn't have any development traits, but he's still a 94 overall. He should be good enough to dominate in simulation. And I'm hoping CJ Stroud can win back-to-back MVPs. That would be awesome. We have 3 really good receivers. We have a decent to good enough offensive line, a great tight end. On defense, the defense isn't great in terms of like the linebacking core. We're just still pretty low overall there. But everybody else, I'm hoping can dominate. We had to lose some people to free agency and to the lack of money because they were being stubborn. One being Nicholas Bosa. Didn't want to come back. He wanted more money. Even though he was 31 years old, he didn't want the money we were offering him, even though it was a really, really good amount of money. But he said no, he didn't want to come back, so we traded him to Seattle for JTT. And there was a lot of other things. If you missed last episode, go back and watch it. I think that we can get the job done today. I think we can go to the playoffs and hopefully make something happen. The last couple of times we've been in the playoffs, we've lost in the first round, even though we've been like the best team in the entire NFL. So I have no idea why that's happening. I hope it doesn't happen again. Let's find out. Let's go to the midseason mark, see where we are in season number 9. We've made it to the midseason mark, and we sit at 4-3 on the year. Not as good as we have been in the past at this point, but still leading the division and playing decently well enough. I think we can get the job done. I think that we have some morale boosts too that are helping us. I think Jahmyr Gibbs also got an upgrade point, so he should be a 95. He is. CJ Stroud's a true 97. This team is good. It's not great, but I think it's good enough to win a championship. I certainly do think that. I mean, we've had teams that have been worse than this that have won championships in 10-year rebuilds, so I think that we should be able to do it, especially when we're rocking Chiefs playbook. We have a great quarterback, we have a great running back, 3 good receivers, a decent enough offensive line, a good tight end, and a decent enough defense. We should be able to handle things. I don't know. Let's go to the playoffs and find out how it happens. We've made it to the end of season number 9. We are in the playoffs. We actually made the playoffs this year at 14-3, won the division pretty handily, but we were not the best team in the AFC, unfortunately, even with 14 wins. We are in the wild card, taking on the Chargers, and we've had history in the past where we make the playoffs and lose in the first round. So I'm not getting my hopes up whatsoever about this playoff run. 4,800 yards and 39 touchdowns for CJ Stroud is a great season. It's not an MVP season, but it's a great season with 8 interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs comes in year number 1 with him here in the offense, 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. So I guess we made the right decision to trade for him because he had a great year. Jordan Addison, another amazing season, 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns. Calvin Pryor had 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison had 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk had 9 touchdowns. I mean, we had some good production from the receiving core. Defensively, we had 116 tackles from Marquise Philbin. No surprise there. He's always been a stud since we drafted him. 75 tackles for Willie Anderson Jr. with 20 tackles for loss. 74 tackles for Devin Witherspoon. Jeremy Amos had 73. Josh Meeks, our new starting strong safety, had 72. Tackle for loss leader is Willie Anderson Jr. with 20. Wallace had 19. Michael Wallace has been the best defensive tackle we've had, even though he's normal development, and Spencer Stump is a superstar development. He's putting up similar numbers or even better numbers than Stump, which is pretty crazy. But he's got 7 sacks as well. 13 tackles for loss for Stump. Sacks for the team. 15 for Anderson Jr. JTT had 14. Wallace and Stump had 7. 2.5 and 2 for a couple guys. And then interception leader is Kenny Jordan with 3. Okuda had 2. So did Randy Hayes. And then 1 for Jeremy Amos. All right. That is what we've got working here for season number 9. Can we win a playoff game? I don't expect it to go well, but maybe that's when things surprise you and we actually do make a magical run to the Super Bowl. I don't see that happening, and we lose 38-22. I have no idea what to do differently. I've changed playbooks. We've got a great offense. I don't know what else to do. I'm stumped. I'm very much confused to the point of no return on how to win in the playoffs unless I actually go in and physically play the games, and I'm not going to do that. So we are just going to continue to suffer when it matters the most, and at least we've already got our 2 championships. I'm happy about that. If this was like the Cardinals where we had to go all the way to the wire and year number 10 when we finally won a championship, I would be very much stressed out. But I'm happy that we've already gotten 2. Not only did we get 1, we've gotten 2. So I'm happy about that. And it's Chiefs and Bears in the Super Bowl. See, why didn't I get to the Super Bowl? We were running the same playbook as the Chiefs. Why did I not get into the Super Bowl? Why did they? I don't know. But we move to the off season here. Who's going to win? I'm going to guess the Chiefs just because it's Madden, and the Chiefs like to suck the Chiefs off so much that we'll see what happens, especially against the Bears. I can't see the Chiefs losing. And it's going to be a 49-14 blowout in the Super Bowl. Chiefs get the W. No surprises there whatsoever. And we move to the offseason, headed into year number 10, the final year. The final year is upon us. Mahomes wins the MVP of the Super Bowl. Caleb Williams gets MVP of the league. We actually won Coach of the Year again with D'Amico Ryans, but we don't get any other awards. That's okay. We don't need any other awards. The only award I want at this point, we already got an MVP with CJ Stroud. The only other award that I want is another championship. And we've only got 1 more year to add a 3rd championship. So, is that going to happen next episode? Probably not. That's what I would guess. I would guess probably not. But we can hope, can't we? We can hope that it can change. I guess we'll find out. I guess we will find out. We've got players that are ready to negotiate. Our final time doing this. Who needs a new contract? Willie Anderson Jr. because we had to franchise tag him. And CJ Stroud wants a ton of money. I forgot about that. CJ Stroud is 30 years old, does not want to be here, and the contract that we can offer him is in our entire budget. That sucks. Our entire budget will go to CJ Stroud. Or we could offer Willie Anderson Jr. and maybe have a little bit more money to offer other players and then trade CJ Stroud and have negative cap space. That's probably the thing that we're going to have to do. That is probably what we're going to have to try to do. So we will bring back Kenny Jordan. He's coming back. We have $7 million to bring one guy back, one other guy back, and it's probably going to have to be Ellington if we can. Yeah, we can just barely afford to bring back Ellington. And we will do that. But he says no thank you. He wants to be here. His interest is 100%, and we gave him a good offer, but he said no. I don't understand why he said no. There's not really anybody else that I want to bring back. We don't need Philip Moreland anymore because we have Jahmyr Gibbs for one final season, so it looks like we got to trade 2 people. I did not think that we'd have to trade our quarterback in the final season, but we just don't have the money to bring him back. He wants way too much money, and especially having to bring back Will Anderson Jr. did not help. So we will need a new quarterback for the final season. Who's it going to be? Your guess is as good as mine. But luckily, CJ is a former MVP. He is a 97 overall. So we should be able to get away with getting a pretty good quarterback back in return. We can go for somebody that's in the 95 to 99 range, I would guess. And we're not going to need draft picks for next season, so we can go for somebody that's pretty good. Let's just go around the league and take a look. So we could go for like a Michael Mason. I think he might be a little bit too hard to get, though. We might need to go for a player who is like real, who is a real player, like a Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen or somebody like that. That might be a little bit easier to get. Maybe. There's Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. Tua hasn't developed. Lamar Jackson, even though that's not Lamar Jackson. I love that picture, though. That makes me laugh every time I see it. Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams did just win the MVP. Maybe that's too much of a difference, though. Caleb Williams is only an 89 overall. I can't drop that much of a difference. Joe Burrow's a 93, and he's 34. We need to get maybe this guy. Maybe Joseph Edens. He's 93 at 27. Is that too much of a drop-off, though? Is CJ Stroud the best quarterback in the league? He might be. 97 overall might be the highest, although I think there was a 98 somewhere. So he might not be the highest overall. I think it might be that one guy. Yeah, Michael Mason is a 98. What about this? Trade offer accepted. So we jump up 1 overall. We lose all of our money, basically, which is no surprise there. I expected that to happen. But we bring in Michael Mason to the roster for 1 final season. Maybe he can get it done in this offense. I have no idea. We also will lose our main man, Darian Ellington, which kind of sucks. Kinda sucks, but that's okay because we can trade offer him away and we can at least get something back in return for him, which I don't really know what we can get back. Maybe a guard, Ramon Perez, could be good. Let me just take a quick look at the offensive line. Is right guard one of our positions of need? So if we go to right tackle, we could use a right tackle. That's a higher overall. Trey Smith is there, so we don't need a right guard. And Vera Tucker. So guard is pretty much off the table. We don't need a guard, but a tackle we could certainly use. Is anybody offering me a tackle that's a high enough overall? I guess we could move a guard to tackle. I don't know how smart of an idea that would be. But it doesn't look like anybody's offering me a left tackle or right tackle that's good enough overall. 75 overall is just not going to be high enough at this point. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to accept the offer for this. We're going to take Taj Hall, and we are going to move somebody to tackle. I don't know who it's going to be, but we are going to move somebody to tackle. Maybe it's Taj Hall. I guess we'll have to take a look at his height and weight and his length of his arms and see if he can fit at right tackle. But now with Michael Mason at the quarterback position, and he's got an upgrade point, does that mean he can move up to a 99 overall true? I think it does. A true 99 for Michael Mason. The final season comes down to this with Michael Mason. I thought we'd have CJ Stroud for the entire 10 years. We don't. We had him for 9, and he got us 2 championships and an MVP. Jahmyr Gibbs actually goes up to star development. Okay, so here's where we need to figure out. How tall is Taj Hall? He is 6'3", 312. That is big enough to play tackle, I'd say. That is probably big enough to play tackle. We'll move him to left tackle. We'll change his position, and hopefully he will stay at an 85. He is an 83. So he drops a little bit playing tackle, but that's okay because he's big. He's already better than Keys was. I think that's a better move in the long run. I think that could work. I really do. We need outside linebacking help, and that's really all that we need on the defense. Maybe another corner, but we're not going to have any money in free agency, so we have to go to the draft, rely on that for the final season to, I don't know, get us a little bit of extra depth for the final year. I mean, these players, these rookies aren't going to really matter too much, are they? They're not going to affect the team in the long run. And we're not going to have... How many draft picks do we have? 3 first-round picks again? I don't remember. I think we do. I think we do have 3 first-round picks again. I'm just happy that we got a quarterback that is on the same level as CJ Stroud. At least on paper, he's on the same level. I don't know how he's going to play in simulation, especially in the Chiefs playbook. But at least he's a 98 overall. He's better overall-wise than CJ was. And he's an X factor, so that helps. That really does help. And he's a true 99. CJ was only a 97. He's a true 99 with that upgrade point, so that could be something very useful for us in this final season. Maybe he's the missing link. Maybe CJ's time was done. I mean, we moved on from Kyler Murray and got Desmond Ridder, so in the Cardinals rebuild, so maybe, just maybe, moving on from CJ Stroud and getting Michael Mason is the right idea. We have pick 24 in the draft. No surprise there. I didn't even take a look at this class at all. It doesn't look like there's a generational player, which is good because that would just make me want to trade up to get him. But there seems to be some okay players. We'll see what's there at 24. We obviously need linebacker. We need maybe another receiver even, and definitely some corners. So we simulate to pick 24. Who's on the board? Who is on DOS board? Let's see. We got some offensive tackles. Basically all offensive tackles. And then a couple corners. Okay, very interesting top of the board. This guy, Trevor Frazier, is 6'3", man-to-man, elite speed, but his man coverage and zone coverage are both C's. So first round pick, probably not, but maybe a second round pick I could take him on if he's still there. But definitely not a first round pick, that is for sure. Jonathan Leonard is a very tall tackle at 6'7". He's pretty average, but is he better than the other tackle that's right below him? Is he better than Quincy Sullivan? Let's find out. Also 6'7", better athlete. They're about the same player almost. The other dude, Leonard, is a better athlete than Sullivan is. But they're about the same player almost. This guy's 6'8", not as good of an athlete. Not as good technically either. I don't know who to go with. We should probably take a tackle with this pick. But I don't know who the better option is. Although Sean Curtis might be coming out of left field here. His pass block isn't as good as the other guys, but he's a good athlete. And he's the smallest of all of them. Is Sean Curtis the better of the 4? He's round 1 to 2. The other guys are round 1. I don't think that Sean Curtis is the best athlete, but I don't think he's the better player. I think Jonathan Leonard is the better of the guys. He's the better of the athletes out of the other 3 besides Curtis. Or the other 2 besides Curtis. And his skills are probably the best well-rounded out of everybody. I'm going to take Jonathan Leonard. Hidden development. That could be a good pickup for us. I hope at least. And we have another pick in the first round. I think it's like pick 29. It is. So if Curtis is still available, then I guess we could take him too. There goes Trevor Frazier, 1 pick before us. That was the guy that we were looking at, who I thought should probably go in the second round, not the first round. So Curtis does leave, but Quincy Sullivan is left. And we were looking at Quincy Sullivan. He was obviously one of the guys that we were debating over. Pretty good athlete for Devin Harding. And decent numbers as a right guard, but I don't think taking a guard is the best option, especially when we have 2 really good guards already. And we only have 1 more season to go. So I think we're going to stay away from guards. But maybe we take a strong safety like Garrison Morris, who is really good athlete, fastest safety in the class. The block shedding's not there, but the man coverage is available at an A. That's pretty good. He's an intriguing prospect. What about Mitchell Moore? A right end, 6'6", pretty good strength. Mitchell Moore looks like the guy that we're going to take. Only normal development, but I'm hoping for a like 74, 75, 76 overall type player in Mitchell Moore. And then we have the final first round pick, which is pick 32. And we could take that safety that we were looking at before we took Mitchell Moore. And he is gone? No, there's Garrison Morris. We didn't take a look at Cedric. What's his name? Cedric something? Cedric Goodwin. Pretty good strength for a strong safety. That's always nice to see. Let's take Cedric Goodwin. He looks better. Hidden development. 88 speed is not bad. 76 strength for a strong safety is really good. That can definitely grow. So I'd say that's a pretty good 3 for 3 on first round picks. Obviously, Morris didn't have a development trait, but that's okay. I think we're going to let the CPU handle the rest of the draft. Let them take whoever they want to fill kind of the gaps in positions that we need. And we will end episode number 9 on kind of a weird note. We don't have CJ Stroud anymore for the final season, which is something I didn't think was going to happen. We have one more year to win one more championship, and we have a weird team. Because I think we're good enough, but the simulation says otherwise. So Jonathan Leonard ends up being a 72 overall. Mitchell Moore is a 72. That kind of sucks. But Goodwin is a 77. They took a corner in the second round who's a 75. That's awesome. Does he have hidden development? Trent Harris. Only normal, but he's 6 foot, and he's a 75 overall. So he could help the team this year. And then they took a running back with 70 overall, and then a bunch of other players who aren't that great. So the rest of the NFL, who was the best player in the class? Was it a good class, or was it kind of a stinky class? It was kind of a stinky class, because the best player in the class is an 80 overall tight end who got taken number 2 overall. But then we got the joint second highest player in Cedric Goodwin. I'd say that's a pretty big W, considering we drafted him with the final pick in the first round. I'd say that's a pretty big W. And that is kind of a mid-draft class, if you ask me. One player at an 80, and then it drops to a 77. Not the greatest of draft classes, but that's the final draft class that we will see in this 10-year rebuild. Because next episode will be year 10, and we won't obviously go past the Super Bowl. Or we won't go farther than after the Super Bowl. But this is what the team looks like headed into the final year. Headed into year 10, new quarterback. How much is that going to change? I don't know. We've got a new look offensive line in terms of Taj Hall being there at an 83 overall. Jahmyr Gibbs, 94. The receivers are hopefully going to hold up good enough. We've obviously got a really good tight end. We've got linebackers that are okay, good enough. We've got safeties that are good enough. We've got corners that are good enough. A lot of just good enough players, you could say. A lot of just good enough players on this team. But I think the team is good enough to win a championship. But I've said that for the past couple of episodes, and we haven't done that. So I guess we'll find out next episode in the final season of the Texans 10-year rebuild. If you guys are excited for that, make sure you don't miss out on it. If you enjoyed this one, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.